Welcome to Kinky Clocktower, where we shit all over TPI's creation, and they will never invite us out to their fucking streaming thing. I'm Kinky Joe. I'm here with Colin.
That's a good point. Who will be the first Kinky Land player to make it to a TPI stream?
What are you talking about? We already have Ryan. He's been there since forever. 2-question Ryan.
Oh, I don't think I've played with Ryan.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't come around very much.
Oh, so people get to the TPI streams and never come back.
That's what they do. They hit it big and they leave. They never come back. Anyway, Colin, tell us who the fuck you are besides...
I bet Ryan created the organ grinder, didn't you, Ryan? Piece of shit.
Yeah, Ryan's to blame. I know his address.
Yeah, I have been playing Clocktower for about a year now, actually. I think my first in-person game of Clocktower was BGG spring of last year, so it's Memorial Day coming up.
Do you go by just Colin or Colin, or how do we say this?
Okay, come on, man. It's two L's. You can see it.
It's hard to read. I'm having a problem.
Yeah,
do you have any kind of moniker or anything? Is this just it? You just doxing yourself? This is it? Like share?
Yeah. I mean, I think that people have probably seen me make a fool of myself at least once in your streams. So that, I don't know if you want like a bio on my life, but I think if you want my Clocktower experience, I can be really good or I can be really bad.
This is
but
true.
Usually never average. I'm never in the middle. But hey, we're going to talk about, I think for sure, most players' least favorite minion today. And for me, that's important because I hate playing against this minion particularly.
Oh yeah? What minion would that be? The Baron? The Marionette? I hate the Marionette. It's so hard to beat.
I think at this point, if they clicked on the title, they know it's the organ grinder. But yeah, the organ grinder. Because, and for me, it's more because it changes the game too much. Like I think one of the most important things when you start playing Clocktower and like then getting past the TB and like really deep into S&V, BMR, or customs, is you start to realize that like the voting tells you a lot, right? And so when you're watching people vote and who they're aligned with, that part is huge. When you're just playing TB for the first time, you have no idea. You're still trying to understand what a mayor means.
Yeah,
okay?
let's step back just in case some newbie accidentally clicked on this video just because they saw your beautiful face, because that's going to be the thumbnail. And they were like, oh my God, who's this wonderful, beautiful bald man? And then you're like spewing stuff and they're like, what the fuck, where am I? So welcome to Blood on the Clocktower. If you don't know what that is, you should probably stop watching this completely. However, if you've at least played Trouble Brewing, you're familiar with the game, and you might be familiar with other scripts existing and potentially characters that you did not purchase or own that you will not see unless you're super cool and you rob somebody who already has them. So one of those characters is the organ grinder, and I do believe this wasn't even released with the Kickstarter stuff, Colin. This is actually an experimental that got released at Clocktower Con last year in that packet that they were giving out. Super exclusive.
I'll have to see. I thought I had it but maybe I don't. I've never ran
the Vizier came out around the same time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they were both in that extra set of tokens that came out with Clocktower Con. That's where I got mine. I hated werewolves, so I didn't even care about Blood on Clocktower when I heard about it. Now I'm addicted. But anyway, let's talk about the organ grinder's ability. So their ability, read it to us, Colin.
The organ grinder's ability states that all players keep their eyes closed when voting, and the vote tally is secret. Votes for you only count if you vote.
Wow. That seems pretty fucking strong.
Yeah. It's incredibly strong. And the worst part about it is not the worst part, but it kind of a script has to be built around it to a certain extent.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is a minion that it tells your eyes closed. We play online. I mean, I'm not closing my eyes on I'm sitting here eating Cheetos, right? I don't give a fuck about that. So just to be clear on how this works online, there's actually a button. I think we could put an organ grinder in play and hit the button and see how things go, right? So I put one in. I think we have to do this and then hit check mark. Pulls this out of our chat. That's fine. And then if you run this, if you hit the button, when people put their hand up, I think before the vote, it shows your hand up, but right when you run the vote, it like disappears and you don't know if people voted. And it's got question marks on people or something to that respect. You can tell how much I've played with the organ grinder online. But
that's exactly what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can like fake vote, and then once this starts, it disappears. And so people will always pretend to vote on something, right? And it can be really hard already in Clocktower to not vote. correctly. But yeah, organ grinder. I've never ran it in person though, Joe. Have you ran it in person?
No, maybe one day. I actually think that there's room for it in person more than online. But the biggest issue, I think, that when you run it online and the storytelling, so nobody gets to see the tally either. That's very important because it says all blah, blah, blah. The vote tally is secret. So you don't know if somebody's on the block or not. And the way that, because this is also a storyteller thing where me and you, we run a lot of games. You need to be able to mark that. So there's a little token that comes with the organ grinder that you put next to a player. There is a slight flaw. It doesn't actually remind you how many votes they had. So you need to have an extra note to mark the number of tokens. These are kind of outside of the scope of, the organ grinder's ability, but, quality of life things. You absolutely should write the number of votes that it took, or it's going to be very difficult to track. And then, things like, we haven't even gotten to, like, the new character, the Banshee, with the organ grinder. They got 2 hands. I don't even... Does that work on there?
Yeah, I have no idea the jinxes for that, but it's got to be.
Let's ignore that for now. I'm not even gonna. I just thought about it, but it came to me because they got 2 hands. Do they hide both hands? How do they cover their eyes? Okay, so yeah, that's the organ grinder. And another big thing on the organ grinder that's on there, it doesn't say it directly, but it's very important. You do not die from execution unless you vote on yourself. It doesn't say that directly, but in the last sentence there, it's separate little power. Votes for you only count if you vote. So everybody else in the game can vote for you. If you do not vote, they count as 0. That doesn't mean it counts as a tie or the number doesn't matter. They literally count as 0. That's very, very strong. So if you don't like this power, too bad, because he's staying in the game until the demon or evil team feel like getting rid of this power. We'll talk about more of that later when we get into countermeasures, but that is the organ grinder in a nutshell. Let's go back to our little hidey hole.
No.
All right, so organ grinder, super, super interesting design, I guess. Let us, yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I have to believe that there's a purpose for this on a script somewhere that TPI will release. It's
a big secret. Never gonna tell us. There are some jinxes that are actually important that we should go over as well for the organ grinder. Let me pull those up. I had them up a second ago. The organ grinder,
butler, and the organ grinder and flower girl. Those are the 2 jinxes. So the butler jinx is if the organ grinder is causing eyes closed voting, the butler may raise their hand to vote, but their vote is only counted if their master voted too. So the butler can raise their hand freely, but it wouldn't be counted. So that's another thing to track as a storyteller.
Oh my god, yeah, that actually is super frustrating. Good thing nobody puts butler on scripts.
Hey, I have butler on a script too.
It's an accident.
Because voting is important. No, organ grinder and flower girl. If players' eyes were closed during the nominations, the flower girl learns how many times the demon voted.
This one's wild.
Yeah,
because I think the
2 nominations, it happens, and the demon votes twice. You would learn a 2 as the flower girl.
My opinion is the flower girl. There's like different archetypes of townsfolk. You've got the minion finders, like the investigator and the town crier, etc. You've got your flower girl, your fortune teller, stuff like that. The exorcist. Those are very strong, right? The flower girl is the strongest. It works on its script because there's jumping, there's misinformation due to the demons, right? A lot of ways to move around. The flower girl with sober information wins every game, I think. If they're alive for more than 2 days, 3 days, they just wreck. This is the strongest counter I've ever seen to a fucking townsfolk.
Yeah, it basically don't put them on the script together.
Now, I wouldn't go that far because there's useful information, but...
I mean... yeah, sure, but you're saying you're taking an incredibly powered townsfolk role and essentially neutering it to, like, possibly useful information. So
yeah,
from a building perspective, it doesn't seem like a good use of the flower girl, but... Yeah,
we'll probably talk about more of that when we get to like the script building section. So we went over the jinxes. I can't believe there's only 2. I thought there'd definitely be more, but yeah, I mean a lot of this stuff, I guess. Oh, there is a couple more jinxes. The little monster, right? So little monster jinx, unless you were looking at what this script is. Yeah, the little monster jinx is specifically allows you to kill the organ grinder. Otherwise, it would be immortal, right? So that's also a terrible interaction, right? And I'll just throw it out there. Okay, cool. You found the organ grinder. Are they holding the baby today? Let's waste our time checking. Okay, they weren't holding it today. Let's try again tomorrow. Not a fan of that on a character that you don't even know if you got enough votes on. It works on other characters, but not on that one, I don't think. Minstrel is another one. Only one Jinx character could be in play. And there's an addendum. There's like an added part to this that I don't even think is necessary. Evil players start knowing which player and character it is. I want to explain Jinxes real quick. Jinxes are not affected by any characters in play. They just are, right? So if these two characters are on a script, this is a thing. So if you've done that and now you put a Poppy Grower in play, all the evil players know the Organ Grinder. It overrides that kind of information because Jinxes don't care about that. That's not the intent, but that is the kind of information that it does. They don't even need this. The storyteller can just hate Jinx the two. They don't need to know which one's which. That doesn't seem fair or fun. But I also haven't thought that hard about this specific Jinx because I also just wouldn't put these two on the same script together. The Preacher one is a little bit weirder for me. Let's talk through this one. Only one Jinx character could be... Actually, you know what? These are both going to fall into each other, so I take back what I said. Only one Jinx character could be in play. Evil players, it's got the same thing where you know which one's which.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, where they know which one is which?
I don't think I can recall a time where I've played a script that had that, because I do think I've seen it and I've thought it's incredibly silly. Like you said, it's not necessary. Just do the hate Jinx, right? Just one's in play, that's it. Like,
yeah.
Why do you have to? Why? But I'm sure, once again, I always think there's probably a reason why. I just would love to have someone explain to me why those two state that. I wonder if there's any other...
You're in luck. Stephen Medway is right here, and then he comes on camera. We'll edit that in later, and then he explains it.
I'm trying to think if there's any other... Is there any other Jinx?
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. All right. Anyway.
No, like, is there any other Jinx that says that? That'd be interesting. Is there just the Organ Grinder that has those?
I think there's one more, but I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
Oh, it's Vizier and Magician.
That makes sense, actually, between them. That's a fun one.
That's a whole different world. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so not crazy here.
I think you can build a script easily without those characters, and it's not too hard if you really want to play an Organ Grinder script, right? Like,
I agree. Those aren't, and again, Flower Girl's not totally terrible, but it's not the best. It's a very strong counter. The Organ Grinder is just a very strong counter because it changes what the Flower Girl's ability does. Okay, cool. So I think we're on the same page with the Jinxes, at least this, and these all came from the How to Run on the unofficial. Thank you for that. Cool. So now that we know all of those things, what are your thoughts on the Organ Grinder straight up without digging into specifics? Do you love this character?
I don't like playing it as a storyteller, or I don't like running it as a storyteller, and I don't like it being in the game as a player. So I would say no. I don't even know if I would like being the Organ Grinder.
I'll tell you what, I've ran 2 Organ Grinder games now, and both players, they like kind of had some fun with it. Although I should note that I used a special rule on the first time that we ran it because nobody likes Organ Grinders, so I forced it on them. Game. Yeah, so all I took away one thing. You could kill the Organ Grinder if you got enough votes. And nobody seemed to care. It didn't change anything. Like, I'm sure there's a reason for it. I know TPI doesn't like the hard confirm minions, like, unless they absolutely have to. Like, Out at Evil that's got a super hard counter. That's some of the reasons for their Jinxes. I think I might be wording whatever their intention is slightly off, but I think I have the general spirit of what they want. Yeah. But, yeah, what do we have? Alexis and Sandwiches, I think, are the only 2 organs that have grinded around here, and neither one
Sandwiches has fun with any role, so let's be real. Like, Sandwiches, you could give Sandwiches literally anything.
We could tell him he's the marionette.
Yeah, I'm just saying because he can be a troll. He can troll around with that. Where I don't know. It just feels like
Pixie Magician, right?
It feels dirty. It feels really dirty as I would imagine as a minion, knowing that you can get away with whatever you want, essentially.
Yeah. And the counter to that is that you figure out who they are and then ignore them. Apparently, that's what I'm being
agree.
told.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's so play style dependent on your group. I mean, we see that in our group, you're in the Kinky Land Clocktower, we quite have chaotic at least 2 to 3 days. So you can get away with that and still be considered potentially a good player.
All right, my thoughts on the Organ Grinder are similar. My main issue with the Organ Grinder is the online atmosphere. So the counter to the Organ Grinder, and again, I'm very inexperienced playing against it, but I've watched a lot of games of it. Well, it happens to be out there sometimes. I don't choose to watch them, but I do like Clocktower. I'm kind of an addict. But for the organ grinder itself, it seems that, after a vote happens, you're like, all right, who voted? All right, you voted, you voted, you voted. That's wasting a lot of fucking voice, like, in town when there's only one voice channel, right?
Yeah.
And, okay, after every vote we're going to do this, it feels repetitive, it feels samey, and I'm not a fan of that.
It just takes up it takes over the game. It literally, and so as a minion for that, it doesn't have to do anything. It just takes over the game just by putting it in the bag, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that said, there are a couple of other minions that have this similar ability, right? So the organ grinder has the ability to dictate voting in a weird way, right? Because one thing that is cool, so we'll talk positives on it and what it allows the evil team to do. They can vote freely. Nobody knows who the fuck you're voting on. So every single time a vote goes, let's say a 12-player game like we usually do, all 3 evil players vote on everything that's not their team. Almost every time, right? No repercussions, nothing. That's awesome. That is pretty cool and very strong. It does challenge town to vote together in a similar way to the Vizier, where they need to figure it out and go for it. So if they do that, then it is a strong ability that is counted.
Dude, it's just right? I hate the whole idea of like living in a dream world of like, if town does do that, it's like, let's be real, you can have the same group, but it is so incredibly hard, even with the same group, to coordinate like a voting and a nomination process. And so I think maybe at the highest level of Clocktower, like maybe this was built for like professional Clocktower, the organ grinder. That's the purpose behind it. I just think it's really hard though to counter. But we'll
outside of like the jinxed characters for the organ grinder, I mean, there's a lot of script building you can do to make the character work. Probably some hypothetical script out there exists.
I mean,
yeah,
I don't think
them.
I don't think it ruins scripts. I mean, yeah, we pulled up essentially like the 3 like I just like filtered by the most like liked or favorited scripts on the script website and pulled these 3. And yeah, so I think it's worth taking a look at them and see why people like them or what that works with. And I don't know, maybe we'll change our minds on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to, I guess, having my mind change. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah. Okay.
I'll go through it. First one opened up as Xenophobia, right? So this one, I believe, was the Plague Doctor winning script for the release, and it has the organ grinder, right? It's a demon, one demon only script, Fengu.
Yeah, this is by Evil Steve, right? He's of the Grim, and he actually did a recent script that I liked that had the Snake Charmer ++. I thought that was fun.
Yes.
Although homebrewy, it was super, super interesting and fun to play.
Yeah, I agree. So this is kind of, as you can tell by looking through, can be very chaotic, right? You can have up to 4 additional outsiders in play with Godfather, Baron, and Fengu. We know how that goes. Let's see. Also, you have Balloonist too. So you can have, I guess, 6 additional outsiders? Yeah, you can have a 0 outsider game and somehow get 6 outsiders. Now, anyways, I don't think it's possible, but that is like the really big focus on the script, I feel like, is a lot of outsider manipulation and trying to figure out what's going on. Now, actually, how is the organ grinder important with that? Well, I mean, it's the Plague Doctor, right? So you're going to add an organ grinder into the game mid-game?
You said up to 4 additional, but there's actually
5. No, 5. I missed the Balloonist, yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ. So everything that could manipulate will manipulate. Okay. Yeah. Is there a write-up for this, by the way, anywhere? Or?
There wasn't. I copied the write-ups down. All
right, this is my fucking... All right, I'm not a professional script reviewer, but I'm getting there. I'm working my way up. And if you have a script, you need a fucking write-up. Write up something for your script so we understand your thoughts and experiences, your process for how you got to the end point. I have no clue what the goal is, and I'm not going to look at... I mean, these are special circumstances where these are popular scripts that Colin has found and looked up. But for you randos out there like myself, write up something so I know what the hell the script is doing. Like play notes even on, hey, if you're going to run this would be things to look for. Like, please, just do that. That's my PSA. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's great. And while you were doing that, I was looking to see if there were notes on it. And
there could be, maybe on the script competition.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be on the Azura's site if he didn't write it there, but
yeah.
whatever.
Anyways, this is a script I've played, and I think it's the most recent of the scripts that I'll pull up today. So yeah, lots of thoughts, right?
Talk me through how you look at scripts, by the way, because me and you haven't done any script roasting before. And
that's a good point. First thing I look of, I try to think of what the thought process is, right? Because most people don't write what their thought process is. So if I can't tell within a minute of what you're trying to do, but clearly it's a Fangu here, right? And the Plague Doctor is being highlighted, and they're adding minions that can be silent or loud. So you have the Organ Grinder that's incredibly loud if the Plague Doctor drops, and so I can see the idea around it because it was built for the Plague Doctor, not for the Organ Grinder. But the Organ Grinder was added into it because it is such a terrible minion to deal with, and so you have to think: do you really want to kill the Plague Doctor claim? Especially if there's a Fangu. Oh, there's definitely a Fangu on the script. So it pushes you into this dilemma of having to potentially kill a Plague Doctor if there's an Organ Grinder.
Colin, I do want to make one more addendum. There's +6 outsider modification on here. There's a Huntsman. You can have 0 outsider count and then +6.
Yeah.
You can have more outsiders than fucking townsfolk exist in the game, and I think I'm not gonna do it right now, but there's gotta be a theoretical limit because you have to have a Huntsman in and a Balloonist in to trigger that, and they can't turn themselves from that. Anyway, sorry. I was noticing that he really did max it out here.
It's like a 10-player game. You could have a Balloonist, a Godfather, a Baron, a Fangu, a Huntsman, and the rest are all outsiders. I don't even know if you'd have enough outsiders. You might have to add a Traveler to be an outsider.
That's definitely a meme game. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. I think that's the purpose of the script, right? And so if you're looking for a script that really highlights an outsider that adds a really shitty minion ability, this is perfect, right? I mean, you're talking about turning people into outsiders, which, by the way, also suck on the script because you have a damsel, a barber. I mean, the demon can change multiple times in the script. It can jump, then it can be swapped to the barber. You have a mutant that's going to cause confusion. I mean, it has so many effects, and that's why it's on the script, I feel like, because it is so terrible. And so the fear of the Plague Doctor dying and adding an Organ Grinder is probably huge as well as a town on the script.
Yeah, so you only ever have a Fangu. So now we're just going to go into this script and talking through this script, and then we'll come back to the Organ Grinder at the end and see what the impact is on this script. We always have a Fangu game. So the first time that they fucking miss a townsfolk, they're jumping. This could be unplanned with how many outsiders are going to be in here. There's going to be a lot of double claiming, right? So let's talk about the Fangu for a second on what it does for a script, because it does a lot. A Fangu immediately makes people count double claim. There will be double claims in town if there's more than one outsider. It doesn't even matter because the outsiders are not going to claim outsider. Mostly because, not because they might get jumped into. Everybody wants to get jumped into, let's be real. They want to fucking be evil. They don't want to get caught out as an outsider and get executed.
I'll tell you what, I don't mind being jumped into as much as I mind being Mez turned on purpose, for sure. I'd rather be just jumped into.
You want to be faked out. So the minions here, there's a lot of doubling up here, but Baron, Godfather, I get it. It's part of the gimmick of having as many outsiders as you can in play. The Marionette, okay.
We know how that goes. Hopefully,
yeah, Marionette's fun. There's a Recluse on here. Okay. Organ Grinder, that's fine. We'll have a bunch of thoughts on the Organ Grinder at the end. But the Baron and the Godfather immediately. I mean, so you have to put 2 of these in play in a 12-player game. If you're putting the Godfather in, are you always just minusing 1? That fucks up the Baron. If you're plussing, Jesus, what is town doing? Because that's immediately 4 more outsiders because you have a Fangu no matter what.
Yeah.
So the Godfather is on this script to reduce outsider count, in my opinion. And why? What's the point of the Godfather at that point?
Yeah. I mean,
to add extra kills?
I agree. I think it was more of a, can we get 6 outsider manipulation?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can. Here you go. If you want
my opinion is that you're never going to put Baron Godfather in the game together. You will. But my opinion is, as a storyteller, as a player, it's not fun to do that. You're actually reducing some of the power. Like the Baron's whole thing is add 2 outsiders. we're going to put another minion in that reduces that. That's silly. That's not fun. And when you go up, that's not fun for the other team because you already have +3 outsiders in that position. Now you add another one. So noting that, let's say you either have a Baron or a Godfather in most games because that's just what you're going to want to do, more than likely. Then you're always either going to have an organ grinder or a marionette.
Yep.
Those are two vastly different worlds. So if I don't see an organ grinder, I know there's a marionette out there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and
so that's the thing is like if you can meta, and which you should, because like once again if they do add 4 outsiders, you should probably find a new storyteller. I'm just saying. Like,
watch that Amnesiac video.
How do you solve the game here? No, I mean, yeah, that's a whole different story. I mean, you're talking about an Amnesiac ability build, but but like, how do you solve the game here, right? So then you look at.
Not to mention, let's look at the outsiders now, right? We have outsider that can't claim, the mutant. Another outsider that absolutely cannot claim, the damsel. Then you have, varying levels of that with the barber, where they're always damaging, right? The plague doctor on here looks pretty fucking rough for the good team. Because it's interesting, one thing that's not talked about, the plague doctor with the Godfather, if they die via execution, it's basically an assassin kill, right? Because you immediately can give yourself the Godfather ability, it looks back, and then bam, you kill an outsider. And on here, holy shit, how many outsiders are going to die? A lot of them during the day. You're chasing for a Fangu.
Exactly. If there's a Godfather in play, this game is over so fast. Because you're chasing Fangu.
Recluse always fun. There's no misinformation, though. I guess that's the highlight, right? The misinformation comes directly from all these double claims and a marionette.
Yeah. And
a lot of double claims.
A lot of double claims.
Let's look at town now, I guess, because this is where our misinformation might be hiding. You've looked at this thoroughly. I'm just taking it.
No, there's none really.
Snake Charmer, they're probably gonna lie, so that's like a couple days of bullshit.
Yeah.
Then you got the Philo, but they're gonna come out with it.
The balloonist will probably lie because they know how important they are in the script, and there's no poisoning or drunkenness, so they'd have to try to stay hidden to actually, because if they can't get 4 names, it's probably really good information.
I do see, this is pretty funny, Steve, here, that you put the Virgin on the script with 20 outsiders. I do appreciate that. That's pretty funny. I love that. That entertains me in a way that I can't express.
Yeah, and then Gossip seems pretty confirmable with, I guess, with Godfather. Maybe not, but
I don't think so, because the issue is, this is my problem with my own script, the one that won the Harpy competition with the Gossip. All it is Gossip Godfather is the multi-kills. Yeah. And I thought about it back and forth. How strong is it to confirm yourself? If there's no way for the evil team to do it, you'll probably just die from the Gossip and you'll learn one thing, maybe. That's cool. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't think it's the worst thing. I just always look at how many ways are. Like it's doable, right? It doesn't change the game.
It's not the best situation, right? Usually an assassin's better, so therefore evil can absolutely bluff it. Because if the Godfather is trying to bluff Gossip, they better get lucky. They better have a really good read on who's getting executed, because they ain't gonna do it, and they can't even do that till the end of the day, and that seems pretty suspicious. If I'm gossiping right at the last second, like Colin over here, the fucking barber's on the block, and I'm like, I gossip that there's gonna be a demon swap tonight, and then you get a double kill, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm right, guys. Obviously that's stupid because that's predicted the future, but anyway, you get the idea. It's not easy to bluff.
It's not. Yep, yeah. And like I said, there's strong rolls. There's Dreamer, there's Balloonist, there's High Priestess, but that's again storyteller dependent. Some storytellers, I mean, not every storyteller. It's very subjective, I guess, right? From a High Priestess, how strong is it? Empath, also pretty strong.
Dreamer's kind of wild, actually, Colin, because the only way that evil can bluff Dreamer is a marionette, or they can lie. But where's your misinfo coming from?
I mean, you could just be an outsider then, right? And then have to worry about getting a Godfather kill or, yeah. I mean, I think you can bluff Dreamer, but yeah, Dreamer is incredibly strong here, right? But you're probably getting Fangu or outsider a shit ton of times.
I guess it has a similar situation of Vortex. I know there's no write-up that we could find, and I'm hoping there is one out there, Evil Steve. That'd be nice. I'd love to read it. I think that the goal of this script is the amount of double claims, like low misinfo from powers, and more high misinformation from double claims. Therefore, the Dreamer's here to parse info, and you could, if you're bluffing Dreamer, sell a world where the other player's just lying to you because they're an outsider or evil and they don't want to fess up. That's
and the one
probably
thing I'll say,
it, though.
The last thing I'll say about Townsfolk is like Huntsman has to be ran the bootlegged. Otherwise,
yeah. So what is that way, Colin? So read us a normal one and then tell us how you should run it.
Huntsman's ability initially reads: once per game at night, choose a living player. The damsel, if chosen, becomes a not in play townsfolk. And if a huntsman's in play, it adds the damsel. So if you grab the huntsman tag here, either the marionette, there's probably a jinx for that. There is.
For the which one?
Marionette and huntsman, is there?
Yeah. So the marionette huntsman jinx.
So yeah, if a huntsman token's grabbed in general, then you know a damsel's in play this game because there's no drunk.
Yeah.
And the way we like to run it at Kinky Land and Kinky Clocktower Land, we like to let you choose multiple times, or I'm not sure how Joe runs it. I prefer to run it where you can choose every night. If you hit an evil player, though, you're drunk the rest of the game. So at least it gives you some agency to try to hit a damsel. It's really hard to use this ability the way it is written, in my opinion.
I've had some fun experiences as the damsel. I was changed one night because I was playing pretty crazily, and then somebody told me they were going to pick me that night, so I just hard trusted them. They were the pit hag or the fearmonger or something, I forget what it was, and Sandwiches was actually the person who changed me and never even mentioned it until the next day. And I was like, the other person said they were going to pick me. It was Clue. This is the early days, and Sandwiches actually changed me, and I'm like, you're a fucking liar. Get out of here. Get out of here, you fucking minion. Stop trying to steal other people's thunder. I mean, I'm like a fourth evil player over here. Like, yeah, we're going to do this together. Whatever you want. I trust you. I'm like, yeah. Jesus.
I mean, I think it feels amazing if you can pull it off as a huntsman, right? Once per game, if you can actually the damsel, great. But, like...
Storyteller that happens. What are you doing, Colin? How strong are we going with this?
Oh, it has to be as strong as it's available, right?
Are we doing the fucking how to play bluff? Are we doing the demon's bluff, the one that they're bluffing?
I mean, that's all subjective. Where's the game state at that point? Come on, man. You're trying to get me to commit? Yeah, we're doing it.
Are we doing this every time? We're just going to kill the whole evil team right off that?
Yeah, we're getting them High Priestess. We're giving them the empath sitting next to the demon. I'm not really sure, but once again, I don't think it should be ran that way. So it's a hard no for me if people don't. I don't play scripts if they don't run them. That's me personally. That's a me problem.
There's some side benefits to that have nothing to do with the script, but like goon selection and stuff that makes it more interesting. Okay. So overall, this script has the organ grinder, which I wanted to come back to.
Yeah, let's talk.
There's already, not even counting the organ grinder, there's a lot going on this script that's very strong, and it's mainly the misinformation from all the double claims. I think the script, once you're closer and closer to 0 outsider count, becomes harder and harder for the evil team to win, which is true probably on any player count, even though you do add more good players. It's just there's less people lying. There's more people lying once you're at 1 or 2 extra outsiders, base extra outsiders, right? And you're always going to get an extra evil, right? Unless this Fangoosh fucking sucks and they miss everything and it's an organ grinder marionette game with everything that doesn't add out, and the Godfather -1, like you're always
10 player Fangoo Godfather -1 with a marionette.
Oh my god, I'm gonna run the script that way and it's gonna piss off everybody. They're like, wait, what happened?
We'll be over day 1, my friend. Maybe day 2.
Keep trying to jump and they're not jumping. the cruelest, like, least. This is why you need play notes, Evil Steve. We're gonna ruin your script by playing Godfather -1, Fangoo, fucking 7-player game. Let's go. Stupid.
I mean, anyway. Yeah. This is, like you said, there has to be a lot of outsiders, or the Dreamer is incredibly overpowered here. As well as the blueness.
So the organ grinder is what is it adding to the script, right? We already talked. There's no droisening really.
No, it highlights the play doctor. It allows the ability for evil to hide. So like you said, right? If there's not a lot of outsiders, it allows you to maybe go Fangoo, like in a 12-player game, Fangoo +1 Godfather -1, because the organ grinder can essentially add that much power, especially if a play doctor's in play.
You know what's fun? The organ grinder's in that weird zone, which exists with a couple of other roles, where you as a good player can bluff it in a weird way. Yeah. And you will see a mutant. You'll see half of our fucking crew here at Kinky Land here, fucking bluffing as an organ grinder when they're the mutant. They just will, because it's not against the rules, and it's fun, and it's actually viable probably for at least a little while if it's in play. If it's not in play, it's worth bluffing. Must be drunk.
I mean, you could totally do that. That's a good point. It's like you could just totally bluff, say I'm the organ grinder. Don't waste your time on this. But all evil's hands are raising up on that.
Oh yeah. Or they're gonna frame you later, right? They're gonna let you. When you come out, it's like, all right, I'm not actually.
You won't be doing yourself a good deed as the town.
But as a balloonist, you might do that. You might be greedy. As a snake charmer, you might do that.
Yeah, it's like Goblin, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's just like Goblin. Just like Boom Dandy, where you're like, I don't know, we can do this, guys. Let's go. Where you're not actually saying it, but you're saying it. It's that kind of level of minion, which is fun. That is fun to me. I do like that. So I can't take that away from the organ grinder.
And I guess essentially the demon could bluff that as well, but the dreamer takes care of that very easily. The dreamer takes care of any sort of bluffing very easily on the script.
I want to try this script. I've talked myself into the whole outsider thing. I like the lack of misinfo. Really, the marionette is probably carrying a lot of work here, and you have to be careful too, because you could basically confirm somebody as marionette if you really fuck up the info you give them. You're like, hey man, I think you're evil and you don't know it. I'm like, no, also, like, it's you.
The Fangu jumping to someone who knows who the damsel is because it's dangerous. I mean, this is a definitely things could go really bad type of script, but it also could be really fun and crazy. I think it'd be really fun either way, but things could go south very quickly.
This, based on what I've seen from Evil Steve, this seems like an Evil Steve type script.
This the Snake Charmer one, yeah.
This screams Evil Steve from the experiences of his other script that I played, plus watching a few of his Grim episodes there.
All right, let's do the next one, which is Curious George.
Oh, is this the one with the write-up?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fucking giving me a rager over here. Somebody who listened. As if I said that ahead of time. Yeah, this is a competition you didn't even know you were in, Evil Steve.
Shame on you. There is definitely a write-up here. I'm not going to...
The spoon! It appeared out of nowhere. All right, go for it. Sorry, magical
break.
All right,
Curious George. This is by Hallow. I've never played this script. I believe this script does have a write-up, and I'm not going to read it all. But as we go through parts of it, I can go back and refer to it. Because it's very in detail. Actually, I should read it because it's literally about the organ grinder. So I'm gonna read it.
Drop that deuce. Just bring it on him. Everybody's waiting for it. Don't make him look it up.
All right. So I wanted to take a bit of a different approach to scripting around the organ grinder, selecting a lot of roles that can take a peek behind the curtain that the funny monkey holds up. It's been a lot of fun running this the past couple of days, and I hope you all find it unique and interesting. For the townsfolk, savant, gossip, fisherman, artist, flower girl, and amnesiac can all ask questions regarding or receiving information about the voting patterns of players. For example, a savant might learn that their neighbors voted exactly 4 times yesterday. Or a gossip might state that a player who said they didn't vote on a nomination actually did. The amnesiac could even potentially affect the vote counts in secret, because sticking your noses in places you shouldn't can't hurt, right? Unfortunately for your nose, the evil team is well prepared to mess with your info, with the Poisoner, Vortox, and Vigor Mortis all at the ready. The Fangu, Pit Hag, and Barber can move the demon around, and the Mastermind and Saint can sneak out a win for evil when it's least expected. Of course, the Atheist may know there is no monkey at all. Or are they the drunk? There's no time for monkey business around these parts. The entire town needs to be united in the voting in order to deduce who didn't put their hand up when they said they would. Or maybe the 3 players who put their hand up on the savant without saying a word to anyone about it. Now, run along and play, but don't get into trouble. George promised to be good, but it's easy for little monkeys to forget. Anyways,
I love that write-up. Props to the person who wrote this. Who's the author? Hallow. Oh, Hallow. They're on. They're with CTBOTC with Habby. Shout out to Habby. Cool. I think I'm playing with them tomorrow.
This is a very liked script, and so and I think the organ grinder works well with an atheist. So I think it's worth taking a look at.
My first thoughts are, wow, this script's trying to do quite a fucking lot. It's trying to do a lot. I'm already seeing, so my way, we talked about a little bit of how you go about things for your script review. I tend to look at things minion, demon, outsider, townsfolk in that order, as it helps me formulate what's going on a script. Yeah. But this one pulls me immediately, because obviously organ grinders on here, polarizing. I see like a couple of no-nos right off the bat. You have a Saint and a Vortox with the organ grinder. Like, you don't even know if they're on the block. You don't know if anybody's on the block. What the fuck? Also, Mastermind in general is hard to write a script for. How the fuck is this even pulling it off? I'm looking at it.
It's an atheist script, man.
I guess.
Whatever you want on an atheist script.
Sure, that's not true, though.
So, I mean, I think that is the general idea of atheists, like from most storytellers. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying you can kind of put whatever you want on here, and organ grinder allows you to pretend that an organ grinder is in play.
Yeah, and this is all me disregarding the atheist. Tell me about your thoughts on atheists real quick, because this is obviously super polarizing. You hate it. You just fucking hate it. What do you hate about it?
I think I've had bad experiences with it, right? So you had a few bad experiences with it, and it can ruin any character.
I have so many dark jokes going through my head right now.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not into anal.
It was a cold, rainy night. The atheist knocked on my door. I have just had storytellers that it's, for me, part of the Clocktower is playing a game against people that are playing a game. And I'm a competitive person by heart. So like, I don't want to play a game against Kinky Joe. I already know he's the best storyteller. I need to play a game against people in town and try to an evil team or a good team for me to really enjoy the game. Now, I think an atheist game can be fun. You just have to be in the mood for it, and it has to have the right storyteller. So let's pretend it's you storytelling the script, because I don't like to storytell atheist scripts personally.
I don't blame you.
Tell me, what do you think of this? Like, how would you?
Well, let me agree with you first. I had the same thoughts for a while when I liked. So I also was like, atheist, I don't want to play against the storyteller. I'm playing against other people. This is unfun, and also the storyteller is just going to do random shit. I'm expecting that to happen. Eventually, we'll kill the storyteller. We'll all be happy. And we'll all celebrate and go out for beers or some shit. I don't know, something like that.
That's how I feel every time I play it. Let's just kill it.
Fine, right? But that is the issue that I ran into before I started thinking about how I would do atheist. The way I think of atheist now, I've reframed it in my head, and this is subject to storytelling, and I do believe a lot of ambitious young storytellers out there jump in too fucking quick into the deep end on these things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I story told base 3 like 50 or 60 times before I started doing costumes. But I did storytell right away too, because I was that person where I was the only one in the group that even had the game and had to fucking do it all. The atheist, to me, is another alternative win condition for evil. That is all it is. I think of it that way. And I write scripts with that in mind. Always assume it's not an atheist game until you cannot prove otherwise. Evil team and the storyteller within the limits of the rules, which is why I always do such deep dives into interactions and shit. I want to know what's legal and what's possible, because if I'm running a script with atheist on it, I will do as much legal and possible things that I can that I normally wouldn't do on a script without atheist. Like the drunk. You can change the drunk's character at will. You're allowed to. That is completely
whatever legal. You want. Literally whatever you want.
No, without the atheist.
Oh.
That's my point. I want, as the storyteller, my job on an atheist script, or part of it anyway. Actually, let's step back. My main job is to help the evil team. And if the evil team is trying to sell an atheist world, I'm here for it. I want to help as much as I legally can. That's why you, as player, should be asking every question you can ask the storyteller to say, is this something that would be legal and viable and possible? And this, I'm like, I'll answer it without giving up information on what's in play, all that stuff. But this is important because you can really see some fucked up, funny interactions when it comes to anything on here, when it comes to these things. Like, that's how I feel about it. And as an evil team, you know, it's one more win condition you could push towards.
Yeah.
Now,
that's fair.
Yeah, this also comes from somebody who I run atheist games as if they're normal games until, you know, I create a puzzle. I don't run atheist games all the time. I do have my own atheist script that's beloved in our little server because it's stupid. Idiot Sauce.
Which one is it? Oh, Idiot Sauce.
Idiot Sauce, which has gone through a lot of iterations because I also feel it gets gimmicky if you have certain characters on it. It's like, all right, same thing again. Like Sarah Novus Atheist, right? You make somebody mad as atheist for the 17th fucking time. It gets kind of old. I don't want to see that. But, you know, you had a Boom Dandy on there, and now there's a reason for evil to claim atheist. Oh, do we fucking kill that? Like, there's script building you can do around it that's interesting.
Yeah. You have to, but those come with layers and layers of playing atheist games or storytelling and seeing the way these interactions work. So, in general, atheist should probably be one of the last characters a storyteller puts on a script. Because
or your first one. It's either the very first one, and you're
no,
I
meant like whenever you're like trying to learn how to put new pieces.
Oh yes, yeah.
Like like
you just mean in general. If you're
in general, yeah,
you're script writing and you're not there yet. So script writing, not storytelling.
Yeah, you're like you know what? I think I'm ready to start building a script or storytelling with atheists. You need to know how the interactions work to make a good atheist game. Anyways, so
and I think to storytell an atheist script, you need to know almost every interaction so you can entertain your people here and whatever they might think could happen.
If you are far less knowledgeable than your players, you will get found out so fast.
Yeah. And you'll probably do something silly that'll give it away and make it like, and
it's okay. I mean, if they're having fun, but it's just, you have to be careful. So, yeah, this script is jacked up. I agree.
Well, I wouldn't go that far yet. I meant like there's shit on Hallow, but I do want to talk.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, there's a lot of things that can happen. That's what I meant by jacked up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. So let's go back to the minions now, and we right off the bat we have a pit hag. Pit hag can do anything in the fucking world because all of these roles could be put in play. Anything.
Yep.
Right? Pit hag puts in a fucking atheist. I've seen it. I've seen the good team win because of that in real life. Shout out to Nolan. Pretty sure Becca, Melk, Ryback, I think, was there. It was a stupid fucking game.
Oh, that was at PAX. Game, right?
This is at PAX, yeah. Fucking stupid.
What's the most obvious thing that a pit hag does in the script?
Well, they're gonna put a drunken play. They always put a drunken play.
And then someone gets told that they're the atheist. I mean, that's like if you're like ST 101 here, right? So
yeah, I don't know about that, but a lot of stuff, right? The drunk is the main thing behind that. Is you put a drunk.
Pit hag is dangerous in general on any scripts.
Yeah. Then Poisoner's good, always good on scripts. I do always check to see what is the Poisoner doing. So I always look for Vortox when I see Poisoner because I'm like, these two don't work as well together. One's doing a lot of work and the other one's not. But what am I looking for? I'm looking for mechanical roles. So when a Poisoner and a Vortox are both in play, what is the Poisoner doing that the Vortox isn't? Because it doesn't create arbitrary info. The Poisoner, the Vortox forces false info, which overrides anything the Poisoner would do to information. So looking at the script, atheist can be poisoned, I guess. But there's not going to be an atheist in play unless the fucking evil team puts one in. Okay, so let's move on from that. Amnesiac, Gossip, Monk. Yeah, and you can get into the like super weird ones where you poison. I guess you can lie to people depending on how you do it when they're poisoned, because it is legal to not give info or wake people up. It is legal, especially on an atheist script. So poisoning them, you can go a little bit farther with the info.
I mean, the more I look at this script, the more it is solely built around the organ grinder. Like it is built around the organ grinder. All these townsfolk roles, like in the write-up, it says, it's about asking questions regarding or receiving information about the voting patterns of players, right? So,
yeah. Now, when you do an atheist vote for the storyteller, is the organ grinder in play?
Oh yeah. I mean, if they're pretending it is, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's in play when you vote on the atheist or the storyteller.
I mean, like if it's been in play the entire game is my point. Like, yeah, it doesn't just like disappear.
No. What I mean is similar to Exile, right, where the votes are different for travelers. I just want to be very clear, and the answer is yes. Same, yeah. The organ grinder is in play when you vote on the storyteller. That's wild. So there is 1, 2, 3, at least 3, and we can count Mastermind, 4 ways to lose the game via organ grinder voting incorrectness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's strong, but I think that was the goal that Hallow has here, is to maybe not put all those in play. And again, not every script is meant to be played with random characters in the bag too. You have to trust your storytellers, look at the script. And again, this is why write-ups are good. This is why I love this write-up that you did, Hallow. This is amazing that you actually have a write-up. A lot of people don't even bother. So that's step 1 is fucking knocked out. I would already play this just because you have a write-up, to be honest.
Yeah, me too, because at least the write-up tells you what you should be doing as a townsfolk, right? As a townsfolk, now I know that I need to be directing my ability towards voting. So if it's an artist or fisherman, which you might already know, but not everyone just knows everything when they open up a new script to play. So I agree with you there.
So the last minion that's here is this Mastermind. Ugh. So Mastermind is not a good minion for a lot of reasons, but it kind of works with organ grinder if you can get people to vote wrongly, or you know, in a weird way. I don't love that at all. But let's talk about Mastermind. So Mastermind triggers when the demon is executed, and then there's no deaths that night. So what causes deaths on this script? Gossip, Godfather,
Moonchild, Godfather,
Moonchild.
Pit.
I guess we're not gonna say atheist. Pit Hag Demon Change, I guess.
Okay,
maybe that's the goal that Hallow's going for. Actually,
Pit Hag, the demon dies in a Pit Hag Mastermind.
You can do that. It resets the day is how I would run it. So Mastermind Day would go away if there's a demon that's in play after that. This happens in games where you have evil twins as well, but Mastermind just gives you another day to fuck around.
Dude, so, and the more interactions we talk about in these scripts, the more I'm like, this is just. This organ grinder is just meant for chaos. All these scripts are just like
you see it though, right? And it's fun talking through it because Mastermind sucks. But honestly, Hallow, I think you're carrying a little bit here with the mix of organ grinder Pit Hag. You know, it is, and you know, if you sell an atheist world, and or if the evil team starts sinking in some form or fashion, you're gonna start double tapping. I actually don't see a lot of value to that, to be honest, on a script if you're sinking and then they're sinking. I don't know. But they do have to vote and execute because of the Vortex, right?
I can see the storyteller in an atheist game sinking. Trying to, like...
You gotta double tap the storyteller. No, do we kill him? There's a fucking mastermind in play.
They kill someone who they think they're the demon is, but really it's just an atheist game and you don't kill that night as the storyteller. And then they're like, oh, it's a mastermind day. I mean...
I guess the issue is you're always double tapping. Yeah, I mean, you're always double tapping, Colin, when there's no death.
Yeah.
You have to set up such a fucking crazy world where it's a mastermind day and there is a kill with
No, I agree.
Oh, I have it solved, Colin. I have it solved. It's a one-trick pony, but it works. You have a Pit Hag. Turn yourself to the Gossip. Gossip's something that you know is true that doesn't seem true.
Yeah, then Pit Hag
kill goes off. You're like, I'm not actually the Gossip. I don't know what that was about. I'm just fucking around. Because you're evil, right? You're not gonna claim your role. And then a kill happens. Okay, this is more strategy stuff than the script, like working with it, but this does work. It's stupid, but it works. That's why I love Pit Hag. Pit Hag carries a lot. I stopped putting it on most of my scripts recently, but I've had fun putting that on all of my older ones when there were less minion options and less demons. Because it is just fun.
I took it off a lot of mine, too.
Okay, so we beat the fuck out of the minions. Mastermind actually seems to have some play here, but you do have to have both the storyteller on board. The evil team has to understand that they're on their team if they're in play, and work around that if you actually want to use it.
Vigor Mortis organ grinder.
I hate it. I hate it. I don't like it.
I mean...
You just have a free fucking superpower rest of the game, kind of like a plague doctor, I guess. And you poison someone? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not my favorite interaction, but I'll tell you what, it does buff the Vigor Mortis.
I think
buffs it quite a bit. It does that's the weirdest one too, Colin, because it doesn't even confirm a Vigor Mortis is in play because it's a hidden minion.
Yeah.
Wow, that is strong as shit.
That's why I was just like, wait a second. I mean, Vigor all these minions other than Mastermind.
How do you feel about Vigor Mastermind?
That sounds so dumb.
It's bad because it doesn't work. As soon as the Vigor dies, the power goes away.
Yeah. No.
It's fun though.
Outsiders.
I mean, the Mastermind's got to be the worst minion to ever Vigor kill because its power was. It's like Scarlet Woman killing a Scarlet Woman that keeps their power. It's so silly.
Yeah. Once again,
anyway, that's not the point. On
Mastermind's here for the atheist. I think this is all built into the atheist. Like it's because it's trying to make you think: is it the atheist or is it an atheist game or not?
Yeah.
Outsiders, like you said, brutal, Saint Drunk, Moonchild, Barber. The demon can move. Fengu can move with the Barber. Moonchild can confuse with the Mastermind, like you said. No, I guess it can't.
Which one?
I'm trying to think if Moonchild, how Moonchild works here. I know how it works, like how it interacts on the script. Like, what's the purpose of Moonchild?
Moonchild seems to be both an evil claim because you got a Vigor Mortis here, so you can create a kill. And I guess sell a Mastermind world if you say I'm gonna Vigor kill. So I Vigor kill you as the poisoner or something, right? You claim Moonchild kill someone.
Good player.
Someone gets executed. That player dies, right? Because you killed him. And then you're like, hey, wait, that was my Moonchild pick. Oh my God, it's a Mastermind day. And it's a play. So you make them waste another day executing. See, there's plays here. It's gimmicky because it doesn't work a lot. And again, this is a custom script. There's going to be things that don't work every game, right? That's custom scripts.
Yeah, the Moonchild's just the one that really sticks out to me, right? Of these 4.
I think what I'm saying is it though, right? Like Vigor Mortis Moonchild seems like a good combo.
Yeah. So yeah, Saint's brutal. Saint's always going to be brutal. I don't think there's enough information when we get to these townsfolk. Very short. There's not enough information to solve this game for me.
Ooh, I'm gonna tell you what's what. So Fangu is on here. We talked enough about Fangu last time. The difference here is there's only 2 forms of outsider manipulation, and they're perfectly fine. Godfather, Vigor / Fangu. So you can go up twice or down twice if you really want to. Okay, and then the Vortox. The Vortox I brought up when we talked about Organ Grinder because I don't like it. I do not like Organ Grinder Vortox in any form, fashion. It's too much like, did we load enough? I don't know, let's try again. And then you accidentally tie? Is that fun?
No. And the artist questions, like now you have to, like the artist I feel like should be able to ask questions related to the Organ Grinder but shouldn't have to waste it on a Vortox. A lot of people don't waste it, but I just feel like the Vortox on here is way too strong for evil.
Don't worry, I got you, homie. We got this.
Pit hagging a demon into a Vortox all the time.
Yeah. So let's go up to the outsiders. The outsiders, because we do have a Saint on here. Another loss condition for the good team in multiple ways. 1, the Organ Grinder, right? 2, did the Fangu jump into it? Oh, we don't know. We're gonna leave him alive the entire game. It's one of my least favorite outsiders for this specific thing. I think too many scriptwriters do Fangu Saint. How is that fun? Like every time it's the Fang, like, oh, we're gonna leave the Saint alive and kill it eventually in Final 3. Like, you better be able to solve that.
It's kind of like Fangu Lunatic for me too. I don't love that because it's like, you just always have an out and you know it. I don't like that free release valve there. Fangu Saint, I'm sure you're gonna know who the Saint is, but like, are you ever jumping to the Saint? LaCroix. We're sponsored by LaCroix. I don't think so. I don't think you're ever jumping to the Saint. Drunk is a classic, though.
I don't think you have to either, Colin. I think you always just leave that there and you're like, they'll just think I did. Suckers. Exactly. And you're never going to get a Godfather kill off the Saint, are you? Are you? Yeah. Poisoner, I guess. No. I want to see a cannibal that ate a sober, like a Saint that was poisoned, and then they have a sober Saint ability, and then the cannibal gets executed and the game ends. That's what I want to see eventually. But yeah. So not a fan of the Vortox, not a fan of the Saint for Organ Grinder specifically, which is what our focus is. Moonchild, Barber, whatever, those don't bother me too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Drunk's always good. I think there's very rare occasions where the Drunk's not just useful on a script. Sometimes, like the previous script, I think the Drunk would have been worse for it. I think that previous script is built around all the double claims and the amount of outside stuff. But this script's perfectly fine. Plus, we all know we want that drunk atheist. We all want that drunk atheist.
Yeah,
that's what people do.
Hand. Goes hand in hand.
Yeah. So let's go up to your townsfolk. I heard what you said. You said there's no solve for the Vortox.
No,
my friend.
I said the townsfolk is gonna have a hard time putting together this game because of how powerful the evil team is.
I would argue, yeah, maybe, but half the townsfolk are from S&V.
Yeah, I know.
And S&V, I don't know if you know this, has a Vortox on it.
Yeah. You know what S&V also doesn't have? A minion that stops you watching the votes. A minion that doesn't stop you watching the votes. An atheist.
Yeah. So we have our favorite thing we talked about earlier.
We're talking about the Organ Grinder. So it has to be about the votes here, right? So is this town good enough to solve the game, or like help like piece together information to solve the Organ Grinder and the demon based off of the rules?
Well, we talked about the Flower Girl earlier today. I have a thing for you. You're not gonna like this. How does the Flower Girl work with Organ Grinder again?
You learn how many times the demon voted.
Nice. Okay, so what happens in a Vortox game with the Flower Girl and an Organ Grinder?
So you cannot learn how many times the demon voted. You have to learn a wrong number.
You're wrong.
Oh, is there a jinx on here?
It's a Jinn.
I don't see
Are Jinn affected by the Vortox?
I don't see it down there. Tell me, Joe.
Organ Grinder and Flower Girl. It's a jinx.
I know. I just said that.
Jinxes are not affected by the Vortox.
Oh, really?
Nope.
I did not know that.
Before I'd commit to that, it's actually up to the storyteller. This is something that I was listening to. Actually, Navian and Habby were talking about this on their game the other day. And I guess the ruling right now from Mr. Midway, the big guy, he says it's kind of up to the storyteller. He doesn't want to make a hard ruling on it. But rules is written. The Jinx is not affected by that. I run it so that Fabled are, right? Oh, this is actually this is a while ago. They were talking about it on a script thing, just like we're doing. But yeah, I'm gonna run it the way that my storyteller is, and I'm with you on this. I would treat it as vortoxable information. I think that is because there's other scripts that rely on that for that to work. None of the Jinxes are perfect. I've already read the Leviathan Mayor Jinx, which apparently is. We talked about that, so still, I'm not gonna bring it up here, but so I would run that as if the Vortox affected it, and I would do that for probably most things that make sense that way.
Yeah, but either way, like it's not game-solving information. It's just so hard to solve this game. I think. I think it's built around an atheist organ grinder, and this. But correct me if I'm wrong. How do you think this Savant's, I guess, powerful, but there's so many ways to deal with that from evil perspective.
First off, we're not giving this to a brand new player, that's for sure, right? We've got at least 4 roles on here that are just so advanced that you would need to, I don't know, teach the person a class before they could jump in. But on here, I mean, there's so many directions you can go. If it's a Fangu game, your outsiders are lying, right? And when they're... This is actually the impact of just having a character on a script. Atheist just being on the script impacts it. Fangu, Vortox, just being on the script impacts it. Vigor Mortis in a way, right? Because you're always thinking, wait, is that a dead player that's evil? And they still got their power. Like, it gets you, and it's strong. Yeah. So with that, I don't know. I really don't, because how does an artist solve... So an artist, if they're just going to waste it to ask if it's a Vortox game, unlike Sex and Violets, it's not guaranteed that they're poisoned by either a Nogashi or the Vortox. They could be the drunk. They could be lying to town.
Or poisoned.
Or poisoned, yeah.
Poison or play.
Which I'm okay with that, but the drunk is hard to solve.
Yeah.
And then you have everybody else playing in a Vortox world. That's what I mean. In a Vortox game, the poisoner doesn't do anything to all this. But in a Vortox game, the artist being the drunk, that's... I'm okay with that on normal scripts. I just am with you that there's so much other shit here that's hard. With
I guess a washerwoman can find Vortox out pretty quickly.
That's the thing. Drunk carries a lot of weight on custom scripts with a Vortox. Because I make a lot of scripts like this. Yeah. And all you do is ping a player who thinks that they're a character with the washerwoman. And now you're living in a normal game again.
Yeah, in general, Vortox is absolute trash.
I love Vortox. I will not agree with Colin.
I'm saying I love Vortox, but I was the general Vortox was when I was the marionette. Remember, it's a rainy cap, and thought I was the general, and you kept counting down. Tried to tell me that I was the drunk, and I didn't. Or I was the marionette, and I didn't know. Anyways, my point is that I think that this script was built around the organ grinder and atheist. I think that's the idea behind it, and the townsfolk using their abilities to ask questions.
There is a monk on here. Monk's interesting with Vortox. It's not carrying the script or anything, but it is interesting.
I do like Monk Vortox a lot.
That actually allows the poisoner to have some play too, because while you that'd be a bad luck for you to be also like, oh, Monk protected. I'm gonna use my artist question today, and you were targeted by the poisoner.
Monk Vortox and Drunk Vortox, both great tools as a storyteller to be able to help balance a game. Really, Monk's not a tool, but the Drunk in a Vortox is a good tool to be able to help balance a game.
Yeah. I see one of my favorite experimental characters on here, the Fisherman. I think it works well with the other all 4 of the storyteller question townsfolk are on here. Fisherman, Artist, Amni, and Savant. Amni you love. But the Fisherman, you guys know I run it a specific way, and I think you should always run it similar to that. I've had so many comments from people on the way I run it versus how it's ran. They always get useless fucking advice. Don't do that. Don't give useless advice to your people. And you can't give them good advice if you don't know what they're thinking. Yeah. Instead of alluding to it, what I do is I just ask my player to tell me how they think the game's going and some thoughts, and then I can work around that to help them with it.
I think it's the best way to do it. I did not put Fisherman on scripts before I saw you run it.
I thought it was too weak.
I thought it was like so subjective based off of my opinion, and it's hard for me to
go with your heart.
But if you just
that'd be like some advice like, well, I was trying to tell you that there's an empath in the game, and you need to vote with the empath because there's. I'm like.
The little riddles and the clues that give you. I think the best thing.
Actually, that was pretty good. Hey. I'm gonna write that one down. I shit on my own thing, but actually, I would do that one.
Oh no, I've done that one before.
Vote with your heart. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, it is. We can talk about silly things to do, but I just feel, yeah, I think we can move on from the script.
Yeah, would you play the script? Would you allow me to grace your tabletop here?
I think when we're done with the last one, we should say which one of the three do we think is worth a try.
If Hallow ran this for me, I would play it. Because I always am curious. It's kind of like somebody who writes a book and they read it to you and they explain it. I would want the author to give me their experience on what they planned for it. Because we're not getting the whole picture here. Even with the write-up was very flavorful. And then
if we hate it, we just know so we never have to play it again.
Yeah, we just avoid Hallow forever, right? No, I'm just kidding, Hallow. Yeah, let's go to the last one here. The fuck? A.C.O.G.J? Is that his name? A.C.O.G.J, or their name? I don't know.
A.C.O.G.J and Young Jeezy.
Is that what it is? Is this your script?
No, this isn't my script. This is.
It's 5 people. I get
Avery, Chloe, Ollie, Grog, and John.
Okay, I've heard of one of those names. John. I know John.
Can confirm this was a blast to play the 3 times I did. Can confirm it was great to play, allowed me to bamboozle patterns. There's no actual character interactions, all work great, and lots of room for misdirection and deduction.
You meant to say there's no actual write-up, right?
Yeah, there's no. I was reading
you said there's no actual, then you said character interactions.
I was reading what they had commented on this thing, but yeah, there's nothing really helpful.
Okay, no write-up, that's fine.
But it is
this one looks a lot different from the other ones, Colin.
Yeah. It is.
Jesus Christ, what is on here?
To me, the biggest issue when I looked at it, and maybe I didn't look deep enough, was Leech Organ Grinder. I didn't like it at all.
Not a fan? Why is that?
I don't know. I just don't like the idea of.
Let's come back to that one. Let's go and look through the script, and then we'll come back. When we get to demons, we'll talk about it.
Think about it.
Yeah. So, Witch is such an interesting one. So Witch is a quiet minion. Sorry, quiet's the wrong term. It can be quiet. It is a loud minion. It is publicly displayed right when it triggers, unless you have certain things built in, like a Tinker or a Yaga Bobble, the new one. Then, other than that, I mean, the Witch is basically confirmed when it goes off, for the most part. It doesn't do anything directly to town except for potentially kill. And the reason it works on its base script so much is because executions have to happen because the Vortox is in play. If there's scripts where executions aren't, as required, the Witch tends to hide or do less damage sometimes. But it is fun to play. I think the Witch is one of the most fun minions to just be. You just try to think of somebody who's, like, I would pick a Sandwiches or Colin or fucking Pepper for sure. And just say, hey, I know this person's going to nominate today. Let's kill them. It's a free kill. Hopefully they're a strong character. Let's get it out of the way.
No.
Which doesn't do a lot of misinfo. It just more creates people not wanting to vote. And I think if you don't build a script around nominations, really, then the Witch loses a lot of its power. Unless you have other things that it's doing, like an Alchemist Witch, which is fucking so much fun.
I do think here, with the Organ Grinder being about votes, the Witch has a place I'm sure on a script here. So it makes sense, I guess.
I should generally say I think the Witch can work on most scripts, but I'm always looking to build a script where the minions don't get. So I either have a direction where the minions have a way for it to be like, a little monster type thing where you don't know if there's like a hidden one out there, right? Yeah. Or in this world, one loud minion, because I like to play 12-player or more or 10-player or more games, so you can at least have 2. If there's only one loud one, that's fine. All the other ones are hidden. But if I have a Witch kill and an Organ Grinder is in play, which we'll know, there's no Poisoner, there's no Widow.
Yeah.
That world's gone.
Yeah.
Once you kill worlds, the script decreases in its ability to deliver to the players in the game, right? They're like, oh, this is the answer now.
Exactly, and really that is, I think, is huge because the town is pretty strong here, and so if you can identify which Organ Grinder pretty early on, then you can pretty much start solving with your information. And there's a lot of good of it, like Dreamer. We see some of the Jinxes on the script. You see the Butler and the Flower Girl here, which I think is kind of interesting.
If you put a Witch Organ Grinder in play, nobody can fake Widow. They're gonna die. They're gonna get murdered. So
I guess the Organ Grinder could fake Widow.
If there's no Witch. The Witch is the biggest thing fucking this up because you already have a loud... I think the issue is you're placing 2 loud minions together and you don't have room for any of the quiet ones if they're ever both in play. You just don't. Yeah. So I think that is where my main issue is.
And I think you'd probably never put Widow Poisoner here. Right. So as a player, if I'm a player, I'm like, you're probably not putting Widow Poisoner. I mean, you might.
I think you should. I actually been thinking about these 2 on a script for a minute now. Actually, on that script.
I guess I meant more so like if an Organ Grinder's in play, like, you know, you probably can assume it's not a witch because it's confirmable. Like you can start meting the minions around, right? So obviously, you know, if there's no Organ Grinder in play, Poisoner, Witch, or Widow. If you never have a witch, then you can start to assume these types of things. Like you're saying, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. Essentially.
Got it. And the witch or the Widow on here is. What is it doing for town here? I always look up because there's 2 minions that can see the Grim, right? They can see the Grim. What is it doing to cover its bases here? It looks like the Undertaker is a big one. Looks like Dreamer.
Yeah, Dreamer.
The other ones are all known information because the evil team knows each other, so they don't. Anytime it's like good evil type shit, you don't need to do that. Anything with the minions, they don't need the info. They already know who's on their team.
And Widow, I think, is an amazing minion that we should definitely talk about more. But Widow, I think, is caca.
I love the Widow. I would fucking.
Yeah, I think sometimes the strength is like poisoning a first night information because they can't figure it out, right? So something like you see like the Noble getting poisoned here. I think the Noble's the only one. That's first night philosopher maybe, but yeah.
It's so easy to forget as a storyteller too to remove that Widow poisoning. Like days after they've died.
Yeah, I think we played a game.
It's happened to all of us.
Yeah,
and you're like, I didn't mean to give you bad info, but you're kind of fucked. So sorry, brother. Didn't mean it.
So yeah, I think that you're right. These minions don't work well together for consistent playthrough of the script.
If I was writing this script, which I didn't write, this is my script. Those 2 minions, I would have to make a concession between Organ Grinder, Witch. You know which one's going. You know which one's going away. Or there's one other option here that I would offer up, and I think it works okay. I would offer up an alchemist. I would just put an alchemist on here, and I already know what I would replace. But an alchemist on here would be perfectly acceptable and allow you to bluff.
It could take care of the Organ Grinder too.
This is what I like to do. So my 3 options that I typically do. There's 5 now, I think, with Hatter, Plague Doctor, all that shit. But my 3 options that I used to do was if I want to do multiple loud minions. Either there's no information fuckiness with the minions themselves and it's all attributed to the demons. Option 2 is Pit Hag. If you have Pit Hag and they're quiet on the first day, then you don't know what's going on because the next day it could be anything. Yeah. Option 3 is Little Monster. Little Monster is really strong for that because it allows you, even if it's not in play, just being on the script. This is my Pearl Clutching script. I did that because there's 3 loud minions or 2 loud minions. If 2 are in play, there's a Fearmonger, I think, plus a Harpy, right? If you know those are in play and it was 2 minions, that's it. There's no poison, whatever else I have on their world. But if you have a Little Monster, you never know. You don't know 100%. And the last one that you have is an Alchemist. An Alchemist allows, if it's not in play, evil should bluff it. That way it leaves a world for a minion to be out there doing stuff. Those are my little tips for this. You can take them or leave them. I'm not admitting to be a professional of anything.
Alchemist, Organ Grinder, thoughts? I'm kidding.
No, actually, that's a good question. It's not on the script, but it is an interesting thing. So minion abilities are made for helping evil in general, and sometimes you get lucky and they're helpful for good. That is not one of the cases where it's helpful for good. No. You know, you counter that with Vizier.
It's not on the script. We don't have to talk about it. I just think it's funny because Alchemist.
I think it's interesting.
It needs to have the right minions for it to make sense. Otherwise, you can always say if there's ever an Alchemist, it's probably just one, right? Because Alchemist Widows is I hate Jinx, right? Can't get that one.
Alchemist Widows hate Jinx. Yep. And there's an interesting thing about that. But
great to get here, I think. But yeah,
I do think Alchemist Organ Grinder's okay. For a couple things, like if they're playing for good, they'll eventually kill themselves. But
that's
maybe
at least an execution.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean,
it's not the best.
And yeah, but I think it's fine though, right? Because if you do remove, like you have Poisoner and Witch, so Alchemist can take either one of those. I think Alchemist Poisoner is actually not bad. If you hit the Demon, if you hit the Organ Grinder. So, anyways, Alchemist on here.
I don't think Alchemist works with Poisoner as much as other people think that they do. I think it's too strong. Unlike Exorcist, you have to move your targets. Alchemist Poisoner. We hit a Leech. We're gonna sit on them as an Alchemist Poisoner. This game's over.
Yeah, no. Well, Evil needs a way to handle that if it's there, right? Like everything has to have a way to combat each other. Otherwise, if a broken thing is just broken. But yeah, I agree. It would need to be looked at. It's possible, but it is strong. You would need something like a Pit Hack to try to change the thing around.
Honestly, the easiest thing they could do is swap Imp for Lil Monster, and they probably solve a lot of problems here. It also allows the storyteller to remove the Organ Grinder in one day, so everybody can be happy. But that is what it is. I think this is maybe not the best Alchemist script, but the Alchemist, all the ideas I was saying earlier, they all apply to scripts in general, and this is one that could use something like that, I think. But yeah. So you were saying Leech, Organ Grinder, you're not a fan?
I don't like it.
Why is that?
I just like the lack of death on here. It's like voting's already hard enough, and now you're adding in the fact that a Leech could potentially be a demon. I guess it is confirmed still. Like you can still confirm it, even with an Organ Grinder, right? Because
the execution still happens. They don't die, unlike Organ Grinder, where the execution vote.
But now you have you also have a Sailor. I guess you just never touch it again, right? It's one of those things.
That is a problem, right? If the Leech is claiming Saint, you'll never ever. Oh my God. So I think more than the Leech. I think Leech is fine, but I'm going back. I have like a secret hate for the Saint in script building. I don't mind it as a storyteller player, but as script building, I think the Saint is like one of the worst outsiders to have. It just doesn't do what people think it does. And on this one specifically, if I'm a Leech, I'm gonna claim Saint. You're not gonna test me till Final 3. Guess what? You're never gonna know it's a fucking Leech. Yeah. Cool. That's fun. That's not fun. There's no fun in that, in my opinion. Otherwise, and I think, is this the Avery that we know? Is that
I'm
the
not
Avery?
Sure.
I know that Avery seems to enjoy the Saint.
Saint claims.
Like re-racks and killing the Saint.
So
if that's the case, then yeah, I mean, there's the script's built for that. And again, I can't read into the minds of the creators here. Maybe they have, maybe this is just a silly script that they like to play, and I'm overthinking it, right? And that's valid.
I think
we're taking a very critical stance on these scripts because we were trying to dig into why the Organ Grinder's on it.
Yeah, and Organ Grinder is a silly minion, so I think like the scripts have to kind of be silly because and all of that falls back to the fact that it changes the game so much because of the voting and how important voting is in this game. So when you're going to change the game that much, it kind of has to change the way you build scripts around that type of character, anyways.
What's Imp doing on this script? You like it? I love it.
I think Imp's just one of the best. It is the best demon. So yeah.
Kind of funny. You can frame the Organ Grinder, right? When you kill yourself and jump, like you were sus, and now the Organ Grinder ability is gone. And you're like, guess the person we executed yesterday or they killed the Organ Grinder in the night. And there's questions. Yeah. I think it works. Yeah, it's fine.
It could work. It's a possibility for Evil to bluff or to do that, right? It gives you a chance. Yeah. Poisoner also does that with the Organ Grinder, right? Poison the Organ Grinder.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, that's funny and silly. And then it comes back and it's like confirmed Poisoner game. Exactly. I guess they might think the Sailor did it, but honestly, if you're letting the Sailor get a couple of those, that's fine. I don't know.
Vigor poisoning Vigor killing the Poisoner, then the Poisoner hitting the Organ Grinder on a random day. I mean, there's a lot.
This is a strong Vigor script. This is one of the stronger Vigor scripts that I've ever seen. You gotta be careful with the letters in there. You say Vigor a little too hard. Anyway, you kill one of these guys, you get free poisoning next to him, right? And then other stuff. You kill Poisoner, you're right. So Poisoner, you kill. They're poisoning. They poison somebody. It's poison on poison. I heard you like poison, so I gave you poison for your poison.
Yeah. It could get very, very messy. Once again, definitely need to have a storyteller who knows what they're putting in the bag. You don't just hit shuffle and throw it in there. But I think the demons are fine. I agree. Little Monster here would help. And I think that this town, looking at the town, it is strong enough to handle a Little Monster, I think, as well.
Yeah. All right, Outsiders?
Acrobat's so strong.
Acrobat's pretty good. I like Acrobat. And let's see, is there any other ways for multi-kills to happen? No.
Oh.
Wow, this is the saving grace of this like a weird situation with poisoning maybe for you. Maybe.
Like
not for me. It doesn't do anything for me. This is a townsfolk now. There's literally no other reason for death, so it's confirmed character.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what I'm missing, right? Am I missing something?
I guess really they're just trying to stop the fact that a bigger poisoner thing could go crazy. So
I guess. I'm really trying to figure this out. What else would have a multi-kill besides the amnesiac if you're going hard? Philo acrobat? If you're Philo acrobat. Okay, I guess the acrobat's just doing a lot of work here.
You could sailor drunk the acrobat and then not reveal the poisoning. If the sailor does it. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay.
Maybe it tracks the leech. I have no idea. Honestly, I think acrobat needs a very special place on scripts, and this is I don't see it on here.
I'm a little confused. I don't know. It's here and it's confirmable. It doesn't feel like an outsider.
I don't like the barber here.
Butler's fine. Barber is too strong with leech, in my opinion.
I agree.
I don't like most things that, and I'm trying to come around to it because I see TPI doesn't obviously give a fuck what I think, but they play a lot of scripts with pit hags and leeches and even some scarlet women with leeches. I'm like, those, how's that fun? If I know who the demon is, I know the demon is Colin. Colin is the fucking demon. We're going to kill Colin tomorrow. Colin gets pit hagged into a leech, and leech hosts one of like 7 starting info rolls or expended rolls. Cool. Now we have to play guess what Colin did.
Yep.
That's not fun.
It's not fun. I think we've played a game. I think it was a couple months ago, but it was where it was either me or you were the leech host, and so we're just like playing this game of like we found the leech, but that was without a barber swap. If you add a swap in it, or like it was already hard enough to figure out which one of us was the leech host that no one hosted. If you add a swap into it mid game, like just like it's good luck at that point. So I agree. I don't like the barber with the leech here.
I shouldn't say it's the worst thing in the world either, because I would be argued with this all day, I think, by a lot of the normal, like, streamer type people. I think they do appreciate
for content, right? If you're trying to create,
I like fair games. I like fair and fun games. Yeah. The leech already has the power.
The argument here, and I think the argument that you see from like people that are streaming this game, is that some people are playing, streaming the game for the 12 people sitting on the ground, and some are streaming for like the 12 people watching. And the best balance is how do you do both, right? Because if the players aren't having fun, then the content's probably trash. If the content's boring or it's vanilla, then people are probably not watching it unless you have a great group, which could work, and it works both ways. But I think ultimately what you're seeing here is, just this. I don't think the barber works here for our style of games that we like, anyways. Yeah. If you drop the leech though and keep the little monster, maybe. If you drop the leech,
maybe that works. But again, I mentioned that I was coming around to this whole like pit hag, barber, or whatever for it. I think you have to play around it. I think you have to accept once in a while it's going to happen, and maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. But that is concession that I would be making. I'm not saying it's the right way. I'm not even saying that is fun in itself. It's just a concession that I would be making. And is it really that bad, Colin? Let's say we're in final like 9 and the barber swap happens. That's probably okay. It's when you're going into like final 3 and the barber swap happens and now you have a 50-50. I guess that is actually comparable to a normal game, so maybe it is worse earlier with the leech. It's like mid-game sucks.
What if you don't? The thing is, like, what if you don't even know if it's like there's so much confusion. You're never going to like the people using their abilities, but think about like a leech is outed. They found out the leech, then they kill the barber, but then do they actually swap or do they fake a swap? You never know because you don't go back to actually kill the leech. So then it's just like you're. How do you decide when to execute? It makes the. Yeah, is it the worst thing ever? No. Does it make it incredibly hard for town? Yeah, it does. Yeah. With an organ grinder as well. Good luck.
Yeah, because you can figure out who's evil, but after players have used their powers, you're just guessing who they hosted.
Yeah.
But either way, I think we have to share a similar thought on that. Again, I don't hate it. I am coming around to it, and maybe it's fine, and you can play around it. And I've had games where the barber was leech hosted, which is hilarious.
And Pit Hag Barber are on the same home script, so I think that's fine. It's just you have to be careful with what you put on the script with it.
Yeah, which is why leech is contentious for me.
Yeah.
And Leech Scarlet Woman, just to throw that out there, is not something you should ever play with because it's an auto win. Yeah. Do you know why?
Wait, Leech Scarlet Woman? Yeah. I mean, because... Why?
What happens when you kill the host on Final 5?
The Leech dies and then it goes to the Scarlet Woman.
It still triggers Scarlet Woman and they kill that night. Game's over.
Yeah, game's over. Yeah,
that's broken. Goes to Final 2 after a fucking Scarlet Woman pass. Like, wait, what? I would just kill my own thing and let him do it.
I've never seen a Leech Scarlet Woman script. That's... Actually, I have.
You would just have to house rule it. That it's easy house rule, but it is a house rule. Scarlet Woman does not kill.
Yep.
That's it. They don't kill. They still get the leech host, which is wild. So it's still like a 1 in 3 chance because they can leech host themselves then. They can because they don't kill, right? This is some of the issue. Yeah. Or you can just say it only works in Final 6. I know this is all. It's fucky. Anyway, let's get to the towns.
Go ahead, Sam. I'm gonna because this is some funny because someone made a mistake yesterday. I ran a game where the demon turned the goon. And then on Final 3, they didn't find out that it was a leech yet. The leech had hosted the mathematician. So then Final 3, they actually vote to kill the leech. Or they put the 2 on the mathematician, right? So 2 is on the block. The leech, goon, and mathematician are Final 3 alive. Leech nominates himself. Well, that isn't in the game, my friend, and you can't kill the goon, and you can't kill the host. And so Evil used all their votes, and the next day they woke up and they just killed the leech host and put the goon. You just
That's
nominated
a rough
the wrong
ending.
Person. You just got to nominate the goon who was evil. Anyways, the leech can cause some big issues if you don't think through the entire script. Obviously,
that's pretty funny.
It's not the worst with the barber here, but yeah. Townsfolk, what do you think?
Yeah, so we have one way to survive execution that we've talked through so far, the leech. I don't think you need more than one way. This is my opinion. It's always going to be my opinion. I think the leech's power is you have wasted Town's day and in return confirm that there's a leech in play. I think that's perfectly fine. I think the demon should not want to be executed no matter what demon they are. Your power is that, oh, I'm still alive after execution. That is your power. It's not... oh, a bluffing sailor. I actually think sailor is the dumbest thing, and I'm shitting all over this. I think sailor is the stupidest fucking role to put on any script unless you've thought through why the sailor's even on the script. It does not cover you as a leech. All it does, here's 2 things that it's going to do, Colin. What happens if the sailor procs? There's a sailor in play and they actually work. We ignore the sailor rest of the game. They're either the leech or the sailor. They're not a target. Cool. What was the fucking point?
You need a DA for it to actually be worth anything.
And I have thoughts on DA Leech because it's
no, I agree. I'm just saying for a sailor, forever to go back for a sailor, a DA has to be on the script.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
this has Amni, but like if you're using Amni to like bluff Leech stuff, I'm not playing with you as a storyteller. You better have fucking Rainey actually did this, and it was not a good day for Rainey. Everybody was pooping on him because his power was like survive execution or something like once, but on a Leech script. Like
Amni is a contentious role, and I'm sure people have some opinions on it. I don't really have many opinions on Amni.
You will after your fucking game gets published. Anyway, the sailor
this town
is
strong. The town is strong, I think.
So who are you drunken on the evil team with the sailor? I'll tell you how I run sailor. I run it how it's supposed to be run via BMR. Yeah. I don't drunk evil players unless there's a very interesting situation that comes up. I only drunk the sailor when they hit evil and most of the time when they hit outsiders. Therefore, it's an indicator on whether they hit an evil or not. When they hit townsfolk and the townsfolk are worth drunking, I'll drunk them as well, and most of the time. Because that's what the sailor's power is. The power of the sailor is you are immortal, you live to Final 3, make town, like, that's it. That's their power. At the cost of fucking up people's information.
Yep.
That's
it. I agree. I think that's the way the sailor should be ran. I think the sailor could probably be taken off the script, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like an extra source of poison, I guess, is what they're going for.
There's enough. There's enough.
Also, it's trackable, which I do appreciate. Right? They target.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's not the worst.
I just find most storytellers, if it's a leech game, they give sailor as a bluff. If it's not a leech game, they put a sailor in play.
And if I'm the leech, I'm never bluffing sailor.
No.
Nope. I want you to waste your execution on me eventually.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to. You don't want them to waste it early. You want to make them waste it late.
It's way funnier when your poisoner is bluffing sailor, because then they're like, we're not gonna bother.
I'll tell you the one thing I do like here is Courtier because it lets you just get rid of the organ grinder.
Yeah. So Courtier, let's just jump to it. So all these other ones we've seen, we have Dreamer with Widow. That's good. We've got Oracle. That's great.
Mayor.
Bluffable. Mayor's
when are you going for a mayor win with a poisoner widow?
It's a little rough. It's a little rough. Yeah. But yeah, let's go to Courtier. Courtier's got some fun targets on here. You can hit an outed leech. You can Courtier drunk an outed leech and win the game. I love that. You've seen that on my corrosive sublimate script. It's super interesting if you can get there.
Yep.
Like, wow.
Well, that's why you don't. That's why as a leech, you don't say you're the sailor.
Oh yeah, that's another reason. Oh, I don't know how I survived. Well, you're probably fucked at that point, I guess. If there's still a Courtier around doing their thing. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty wild, honestly. I love the Courtier on this script. It has 3 options. That's always something to consider, right? So it is a 1 in 3 chance for the demon, which is way worse than its base script. It only needs to, you can flip a coin. You might even be able to meta what the fucking roll is in play based on your storyteller, which is pretty strong.
Yeah, and I think the town has enough to deal with evil here. Like this, I can see this being a balanced Grim. You still need to think about what you're putting in the bag, and Courtier, I think, is a really good thing to put in the bag. Also, a really strong evil bluff.
Well, what's preventing kills here too? Sailor.
Mayor can bounce Sailor.
Yeah, but Mayor bounces somewhere.
Yeah,
so I never count that. And you ain't bouncing a dead body.
You don't sink it. Yeah.
I guess the Sailor, the Leech, which is silly, but the Sailor, Sailor and Courtier. So if kills aren't happening, you need to have a real fucking call to Jesus and figure out what's going on between that. So it's probably a bluff that's going off, or it's a real thing.
Or amnesiac, one of the other.
Yeah.
The good thing is with a Courtier bluff, if you got a poisoner, you can always have poison the organ grinder. Say you're the Courtier that did it.
Yeah. That's true.
Mean, if you want to use Courtier as a demon bluff, you have a poisoner. You can try to do that. Those are all like very.
Oh yeah, we've done that on a Vizier script. It was pretty funny. Hazel, who was a friend of us, she was bluffing Sailor as a poisoner on my other script, Cost of Knowing, and poisoned the Vizier. Straight up poisoned him. They tested it, and she got confirmed as the Sailor. Everybody cheered on. Like I would ever fucking do that. I'm like, really? You want me to poison their power? That seems unfun.
It's not how it works.
Yeah, maybe once in a while. I don't know. It really depends. I guess I could be swayed.
Game. Yeah, it's nothing's black and white, right? You have to put everything into a blender and see what makes the best.
It also depends who the Vizier is too. That's a really shocking thing when you go to send a vote through and it doesn't work, and it's like, what? And then everybody panics. If it's a play by evil, then yeah. Like,
now,
I'm always down.
I think the one thing that, like, if you really look at these townsfolk that Joe, like, what do you see? Like, where's the interaction with the flower girl or the organ grinder? Outside of the flower girl and butler, I don't really see a lot of like interactions, and we don't see a town crier in any of these scripts, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. So I always, like I mentioned earlier, the archetypes. I'm looking for what's gonna find evil. Right now I have, and what types of evil too. Dreamer is a big one. So Dreamer on here. You know, obviously it's a bluff for the Widow, but let's say it's not. They're figuring out what the evil rolls are in game as they go through it, and what tends to happen is let's see an organ grinder and a witch get hit, right? You're only gonna see the rolls that are probable in the game, or your storyteller's fucking around too much.
Yeah.
They're just not gonna show you a Widow if nobody heard the Widow call, and it's not happening, right? Caca! But the Dreamer on here is something that finds evil. Technically the Oracle, but I mean, you're working with the past in that situation. The
Flower Girl's trash.
I guess Noble, right? The Noble. I've cooled a lot on the Noble, but I think the Noble's still interesting. I think on this script the Noble works pretty well as long as it doesn't get poisoned night one. There's no recluse that fuck with you.
Yeah, I agree. This one you can kind of pretty much trust your pings, unless there's that Widow that wants to hit that one-time info roll.
Yeah. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, you're right. It seems like a lot of confirmation instead, which is strong. And that is an issue for the Leech, actually. So you have a Virgin here. Funniest thing that could happen is a Virgin that gets nominated by the Leech host and it gets executed, dies, killing the Leech, and the game ends. It's my favorite. I've only seen it once, but it was pretty fucking funny. The game is over.
Should have picked a better host.
Sorry,
skill gap.
And it's complete. Yeah, it's complete skill. So that's a thing. And also, you know, we're taking this thing as a whole. The Leech targets here.
How do you feel about the Leech? And this is not about the organ grinder, but a Leech, a bootlegger where the Leech picks on the second night, and if they get executed on the first day, they actually die.
I've not heard that before. Is that something people are on?
You're like, I've never heard that before. I mean, it is a way to avoid picking a terrible role. Like you can actually kind of.
I think once you're in that world, you might as well just have a barber on script, right? And then it does the same thing, just on an arbitrary night that you figure out where the barber is. I think bootlegger rules for that. I don't see the value. You can get unlucky for sure. Nature of the
so if you are the courtier on the script, if there's an organ grinder in play, do you drink with it?
I don't know. I might do it as a greedy person that wants to confirm myself, but
no.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be funny to see the panic. How do you do this? So you courtier drunk the organ grinder, right? You can't tell anybody. I think this would be more funny in real life. When they run the vote, I want to see the people who panic and are like, wait, why aren't our eyes closed? I want to see who does that. I think in real life that would be really interesting.
Yeah. Once again,
storyteller's like, hey, your eyes don't need to be closed. And I want to see who's like, wait, what? And then
this is an entirely different game with in person with an organ grinder versus online. I think entirely different game.
Oh yeah, I think the courtier with the organ grinder is probably pretty useful, right? You get 3 days of just clean executions. Everybody likes that. I think otherwise,
I think it's a no-brainer for me. I think if I'm the courtier, and after the first day I see an organ grinder, now the risk is a widow hit you.
Yeah. I think I would remove Sailor from this script in general because you do have enough stuff going on, and put one more piece of mechanical.
Yeah, I'm getting rid of Sailor and Acrobat for sure. Sailor and Acrobat.
I just don't get that, I guess. Because the Sailor, I don't know. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm in the minority here, and I'm happy to be in the minority here of one thing, is this Leech Sailor bluff situation. I just don't see the value there. Yeah. And the Philo could basically confirm themselves in a few ways, too. I think the Philo is very, very powerful in this script. As long as they don't take Amnesiac. Yeah,
Philo Amnesiac's not a good play. But there's a Widow, so you might want to think about it, because the Widow never poisons the Philo Amni.
This is the case.
Okay, so of the 3 scripts, which one would you, in your storytelling, which one do you think you would storytell?
The one that I want to grab is Evil Steve's script, just because I want to see how stupid it is with all the outsider claims in the game. I want to see what town can play with that, because remember, the Fangu can only jump once. There's a chance they jump accidentally, and that's always a bad thing. They're trying to kill away from that.
I agree. I think this script is... Sorry, Bethany's getting ice. I think the script... the script is... She's doing it again. She's great. This script is built really around the organ grinder because of in the Plague Doctor. I feel like was the purpose of it, obviously, because it won the award, but the organ grinder is such a terrible minion that it really highlights and works the Plague Doctor. And this would be a disaster for sure with the outsiders that could be in play. But I agree. I think this is probably this or the Atheist script with that Hallow are probably the ones that make the most sense for the organ grinder.
So you like
it doesn't change my opinion.
What do you like this one or the other one more?
I
you just like the chaos because you attribute organ grinder to chaos.
Yeah, as a townsfolk, I think I would prefer to play this one. I don't like the other one.
With all the outsiders.
It's so focused on the organ grinder. And the game isn't about killing the organ grinder.
Yeah.
It's about killing the demon. So this script has enough information to kind of handle both, but also there's plenty of chaos, I think. So I would choose this one of the 3.
Well, let's close this out with a quick question. What would you change on the organ grinder to make it playable? Because I've had these thoughts for a while, and I'm still working towards it.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I would...
And by playable, I don't mean like me and you, we just dislike the organ grinder in general. What would you change to make it so that you would use it?
Like bootleg. If you could bootleg the organ grinder, what would you do, right? Because you did it once. The first time you did it, you did where you could die. So that was huge.
That seemed fair. It seemed fine.
Yeah.
Didn't really
change
much.
That seems like the most obvious one to me. I don't know.
And maybe TPI's play tested it so much that they didn't find that interesting. They didn't find the power overly powerful, so they added this whole votes don't count.
Do you have an idea? Because I can't think of anything that would balance this.
Well, one thing I've thought about, I would revert one of the 2 powers that they have. Either you can die, like your vote does count, or votes on you do count. I think that's, again, this is coming from somebody who hasn't play tested this thing thousands of times like TPI may, or hundreds is probably more realistic. And the other side of it is maybe I would actually tally the votes. I wouldn't say who voted, but I might give you a tally, or at least say when somebody's on the block.
Yeah.
I do think that is the most pressing thing of this fucking minion, is not knowing if somebody's on the block or not. That is why I do not like the atheist one, because I have no idea if we're even close to winning. I don't know how many votes. I don't care how many votes. I need to know who's on the fucking block, or I need to be able to counter the organ grinder by killing them.
Yeah,
those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. I think wholeheartedly the biggest issue is it's too strong. It takes away all voting information as a minion, and you can't kill it. So something has to give. You have to, as a town, you have to be able, because you said earlier, as a storyteller, your job is to help the evil team. I think the organ grinder, as a storyteller, your job is to help the good team. The organ grinders can play. I think it changes the game that much that you just have to start thinking, I can't let this game get out of hand because evil could run away with us.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, please subscribe, and leave a comment. I'm kidding.
Chill. LaCroix, if you're out there, I will not. I sing your praises. We love you.
It is my least favorite minion of all the minions.
I would agree with that. Recently, I've been getting a little kick to want to try it more, so I could roast it even harder. But I just couldn't bring myself to put you guys through that, because that's what
I think you should run this on a Tuesday. This script.
I would play this script. I
think this script would run well with.
I didn't even realize you pulled Xenophobia back up. Yeah, this one, or you were saying this one or Hallows. I thought we were still on the Avery.
No. I pulled the Xenophobia back up. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, this one or Hallows look very interesting.
Yeah, I think you could easily convince the group to play this one, because you're gonna change the huntsman rule, so that's a big thing for me. And
I'm only gonna add the damsel with the huntsman power, so I'm gonna make sure it's outsider manipulation.
All right, and that note, thank you for joining in.
That's the best way to run huntsman, by the way. Always add the damsel. Don't modify the outsiders that are in play. Just add one extra. I think that's. Yeah. Don't follow my
Not only is the huntsman the worst character, you then add a loss condition whenever you're.
Its power is -1 townsfolk.
I guarantee you the person that created the huntsman got fired from TPI.
Sorry, not sorry. We've been toning it down a lot for this. I guess you had to drop that.
I was trying to be nice, but
we've been trying to be nice this whole video. We had to restart the video a few times because we were going a little too hard on TPI. We do love your game, obviously. We play it for hours, hours and weeks. Hours and
Organ
hours.
grinder is just, it's not it for me. Hunting without the bootleg. But yeah, I think this is this or an atheist are the reasons behind it. So I think those are the two scripts that I can see kind of being enjoyable. So I think we test this out. You run the game on Tuesday and we see what happens.
I think so. I think we could throw this one in there. So TPI, if you're watching this, please delete the organ grinder from your tool. Yeah. Please remove it from the script tool. Please restart, because I love the name and I love the token. So I would like to be able to use the character. With an actual
everything's
power
great about it except for the ability. Everything's great except for
it's the best designed character except for the words that are next to it. I fucking hate those words.
I wish I could read. I wish
it was a blank token. It's just like, oh, I'm red. I'm on the evil team, and there's like no ability. We could run it that way. Maybe that's the best bootleg. It just doesn't have an ability. It's already Courtier drunk at the beginning of the game.
Close out. I gotta go make dinner before we play in 10 minutes.
All right. Well, if you saw this, you already heard them. Like, subscribe. We like seeing your guys' feedback too. Shit on us. Tell us how we did. This is Colin's first try at this. Colin just wanted to say hi. Plus, you get to see puppies. He's a puppy. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one or whatever. We'll do some more of these fucking roastings. Bye.
Bye.